Hey, what's up everyone? Jerry here with Triple Feed. Welcome to another installment of ufprogear's Instructor Series. Today we're going to be going over transitioning weapons, specifically from carbine to handgun. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my rifle. As you can see, no magazine inserted, and there is an empty chamber. So I can't emphasize this enough. I'm not teaching tactics right now. All I'm teaching is how to mechanically transition from your primary weapon to your secondary weapon. Tactics can be taught later. So the way I like to transition from carbine to handgun is after my weapon stops working, I'm going to attempt to select safe. I'm going to release my primary hand, simultaneously bringing down the rifle to my hip and coming over to my secondary or my handgun, releasing the rifle, marrying up the hands and presenting the firearm. Another method that I've seen taught is after the weapon is fired and it stops working, you could bring it inborn towards you with the actual ejection port downwards towards your body, releasing the gun and bringing up your secondary weapon. So let's talk about the pros and cons of setting the rifle down to your body. The method that I like, where I release with my primary hand and bring it over to my support side hip, is I'm out of the way of my firearm, my secondary firearm. I'm out of the way of any kit that I have in front of me. The problem with it though is that I have to swim my hand around the rifle in order to bring my secondary firearm up. So one of the shortcomings that I've seen by bringing the rifle straight down towards your center line of your body is it gets in the way of your firearm when you actually unholster. It gets in the way of any kit. For those of you that actually conceal carry and are carrying a carbine, it's going to get in the way of anything that's in your appendix. The other reason is you do risk, if you have a can or a silencer, is actually burning yourself or just kind of hitting your jewels, your family jewels. All right guys, so what we're going to be going over today is transitioning from primary to secondary while using a sling. There's a few different methods to do it. And there's also tactics involved on when you can and you shouldn't do it. We're not going to go over the tactics behind that. We're just going to be working the actual drill portion or the skill set portion of how to transition from your primary to your secondary using consistent mechanics throughout the whole thing. For the purposes of the drill, you're going to have a magazine with one round in the mag. You're going to load and make ready. From there, you're going to fire one round center mass. Something's going to happen to your gun. More than likely, it's going to be a bolt lock emergency reload situation. So with our primary weapon, our rifle, you're going to come up on target. On the fire command, you're going to select fire until your gun stops working, attempt safe. I like to bring my gun to my support side hand with the actual ejection port out. Now there's some people that like to bring it straight forward to themselves. I really don't care which way. There's pros and cons to both. We're not talking about that today. We're just talking about bringing your primary, which is your rifle, to your secondary handgun, bringing it up, marrying the hands together. We fire 2 rounds, index, scan, assess. I like to bring my second magazine out to perform attack reload if it's pertinent, prudent, if you have the time to do so. Still keeping your secondary, which is your handgun, up. You take a look at what's wrong with your rifle. You bring it in without actually muzzling yourself. Remove that magazine, grab a new source of ammunition, load, scan, assess, and then we're done. Does that make sense? First volley or first string of fire is going to be at a very slow pace. You're about 50% speed. Everyone's going to be at a low ready. And on the up command, you're going to come up on target. You're going to fire with your primary, which is going to be your carbine, and you're going to transition the way I did so. It's all about consistency mechanics. Stand by. Up. Scan, assess. And set it up again. Recover your magazines, stay engaged. Make sure you tack reload that empty magazine and set them back up.
I guess I went too slow.
That's fine. So there's a lot of teaching methods behind checking your primary, which is your carbine, and then transitioning over to your secondary, your handgun. A lot of schools teach to look at your firearm before actually transitioning. In my opinion, and this might be not a popular opinion, is why do you need to check if you have a secondary? What's more prudent, getting the rounds downrange or actually fixing your primary gun? Well, it all depends, right? If you're taking rounds already and you need to get a gun back in the fight, I think transitioning immediately to your secondary. Otherwise, just give me your gun. If you don't want to transition to your handgun, just give me your gun. I mean, if you really don't need it. So once again, from the top, I'm going to come up on target. I'm going to fire. Something's going to happen to my rifle. I'm going to bring it down, either to your support side hand or center line to yourself, simultaneously going over to your secondary firearm. You're going to come up, you're going to marry the hands together, you're going to fire. If prudent, if possible, you're going to perform a tack reload on your firearm. You're going to bring your rifle back up, you're going to identify what the problem is, holster up, perform a reload, bring your primary back up, scan, assess. So again, we went over the transition from primary to secondary, your carbine to your handgun. That's just one of a few ways that you could actually perform the transition. Again, it's not a tactic that we were teaching right now. This is just a mechanical way to perform the drill consistently so you can get better over time. I'll see you at the range.